Welcome to the Steve Stine Guitar Podcast, brought to you by GuitarZoom.com. If you want to improve your guitar playing, keep listening. If you want to improve even faster, go to GuitarZoom.com, where you'll find all of Steve's premium courses, masterclasses, and memberships that'll help you quickly and easily improve your playing. Now here's your host, Steve Stine.
Okay, and the last one we're going to be talking about that's very practical and very useful for you when you're playing, whenever you're soloing, is what we call Dorian. And Dorian is, again, a modal name and all that sort of thing. And if you ever want to study your modes, I would recommend doing so. But we're not really worried about that right now. What I want you to focus on is how to use it practically. So we've got our minor pentatonic sitting here, same A minor pentatonic scale. But what we're going to do is we're going to add in this. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're adding in that note, which gives it a little bit different sound than the pure minor. It's not quite as dark. Okay, now let me play it in the next octave as well so you can see it up there. So I've got... So what you should be seeing is that the difference between natural minor or Aeolian they call it, and Dorian, okay, is just one note. It's just that one note. So when I play this, that's natural minor. When I play, that's Dorian. So you can see why that note becomes important. Whenever there's a difference in a scale versus another scale, and the difference is only one pitch, that pitch becomes really important for us to try and emphasize in our soloing. So we really get the feel of it. Now we play through the two octaves here. What's cool about this scale is you get this, which is a 1, 2, 4 kind of shape here with my fingers, and then a 1, 3, 4 on the top. This is where you get a lot of Satriani kinds of sounds like that. And I don't mean to play it fast, but that's the idea. So see, you could be playing minor pentatonic. There's my blues note. And then all of a sudden I drop into some sort of thing with that Dorian. And then I go into the hybrid scale. You see how I can move between all of these? I don't have to feel obligated to play all of it. And I don't have to feel obligated to play the whole fretboard or anything like that. I just have to learn how to be comfortable with moving in and out of whatever it is that I want for the situation that I'm playing over. So if it's a rock and roll thing, that's why rock and roll is so great for guitar players. Even, country guitar players love playing rock and roll, is because you've got this whole element of soloing that doesn't make any sense in theory, that you'd be using minor over major. It doesn't make any sense, but you can do it. And therefore, you can use Dorian over the top, right? So let me get back to those just for a second to make sure you've got all of this. So what would I use Dorian for? Dorian I'd use for anything minor, but I want that rock and roll bluesy feel. I'm going to use Dorian for that. Where Aeolian or natural minor, that minor one that we just did, that one's pure minor. That's a dark one. So if I want something that is more metal, or I just want it to sound really sad or whatever, I'll use Aeolian for that, and you should too. But if I want more of this kind of minor but yet bluesy kind of uplifting thing, I'll use Dorian. On the major side of things, I've got major and mixolydian. Major is often called Ionian. Major is the pure major. When you want it happy, you play major. When you want more of a bluesy element, you play mixolydian.
If you're enjoying this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, go to GuitarZoom.com and consider becoming a premium member. There are 3 memberships to choose from: VIP, which gives you instant access to a library of short but powerful courses as well as new bite-sized lessons each month. There's also Play Songs that gives you step-by-step lessons so you can learn to play your favorite songs fast. And finally, there's Masterclass, university-level training on everything from soloing to music theory, from blues to home recording. For more info about these memberships and all the premium courses available to you, go to GuitarZoom.com. Now back to the podcast.
So you see, Mixolydian and Dorian are really neat because when you want major, but you want it a little more rock and roll or a little bit bluesier, you play Mixolydian. When you're in minor pentatonic, but you want something a little more, you play Dorian if you want it to be a bit more rock and roll. Purity is major and minor, or we call them Ionian and Aeolian, or natural minor, whatever you want to call it. But those are the pure ones, okay? So this way you've got a whole host of different scales that you can use at any time as you're learning how to solo and you're learning to explore your fretboard more. You just have to decide, and again, I understand getting excited and wanting to jump in and grab all this stuff, but if you don't really absorb it and learn how to use it in the real world, you'll never really do it. And then it's kind of a waste. So the trick here is start off with minor pentatonic, right? And learn 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 positions of it, whatever you need to do, and learn how to truly use them to move around the fretboard and make some music with them. Once you've got that, then decide where you want to expand to. Do you want to look at the major side, or don't you really ever use major, right? If you're a rock and roll player or a hard rock player and you don't use a lot of major, maybe you bypass major right now. Maybe you look at Dorian and you look at Aeolian, okay? Maybe you look at one of those 2 scales as your expansion from your minor pentatonic, because you can already see the scale, this minor pentatonic bed, we'll call it, or skeleton, and we're just adding things on top. So if you're more of a minor player, start with minor pentatonic and then build your things on top. If you're more of a major player, you like more country music or, folk music or something like that, use major pentatonic and then add your 2 majors, major, Ionian, and Mixolydian over the top, and figure out which ones are the best fit for you. If you're more of a blues player, man, you got all kinds of great stuff to choose from, because you got minor pentatonic, you got major pentatonic, you got the blues notes that you can add in, you got that hybrid scale, which I strongly encourage you to get comfortable with. Even if it's just in 1 or 2 positions, it makes all the difference in the world. And then you've got Dorian and you've got Mixolydian that you can do over the top. So you see, the thing I want you to really understand is all you're doing is expanding this pentatonic. Like, people always think, well, pentatonic's for beginners. Pentatonic's there forever. Pentatonic doesn't go anywhere. It's always there. We can build on top of it, and we can expand things, but it's always there, and we do want to come back to it, right? It's a lie that pentatonic is like a beginner's guitar thing. It's not. Beginners start with it because it's easy to see, it's easy to play, all the notes are always right, you can't really hit anything that sounds bad. But all of these expansions now give you opportunities to try different things in different places, depending on the style of music that you like to play and that sort of thing. And even everything that I just told you as suggestions, there's a billion other things that you could do that I didn't even mention by exploring. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many great songs and so many great musicians on this planet, or have existed on this planet, not because they read a book and went, oh, that's how things work. It's because they explored it. They had some fun with it, and they sat down and they went, oh, so Mixolydian sounds like this. Because you might just go, well, it's 1 note, nobody notices. If nobody notices, then you're not playing it right. Because it could make all the difference in the world, that 1 note could, depending on how you're using it. So hopefully this helps you a little bit in keeping everything kind of in perspective, number one, and give you a really good approach on how you could use some scale ideas for your playing, some real-world ideas that you could use them for, and some different technique things that you can do to practice them as well. Next time on the Steve Stine Guitar Podcast. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is just looking at an A minor chord, and we're going to try and think of something that's a bit more interesting to play than just playing your scale. And what I'm going to offer you today is an arpeggio, which means broken chord. Now, normally when we think of arpeggios, let me show you this. If I was playing an A minor chord, okay, an arpeggio really could just mean this. just playing the notes of the A minor chord like that. But oftentimes what we do is we learn how to play arpeggio shapes, which lead us to playing things that we call like sweeps and stuff like that, and they look like this. So right there what I'm doing is playing 5, 8, 7, 7, 5, 5, 5, 8. Okay? Hey, Steve Stine here from GuitarZoom.com, and thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, can I ask you a favor? Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Your feedback means more to me than you'll ever know. And be sure to check out my YouTube channels where you'll find over 1,000 videos to help you with your guitar playing. Thanks again for listening. Stay positive, keep playing, and keep having fun.
If you'd like some help with your guitar playing but you're not sure how to get started, go to GuitarZoom.com and look for the Help Me Choose survey. By answering a few simple questions, you'll get Steve's personal recommendation of the perfect course for you. All this and more is available for you at GuitarZoom.com.